looking for the previous owner. He walks around the town countless times a day, and this walk day after day. He's been doing it for 3 years. When the head of the family brought a picture of his mother, the dog froze in place, and he staggers up to his grandmother. He sniffed the photo in front of him. After finding out that there is no smell of grandma, the dog bowed his head again in disappointment. It turns out that this dog wandering the streets is called Abu. He has been by his grandmother's side since he was a child. In the past 15 years, the old man takes Abu out for a walk every day. The footsteps of Abu and his grandmother. It's in every corner of town. However, the weather is unpredictable. 3 years ago, my grandmother passed away due to illness. At the funeral of the elderly, Abu was strangely quiet. He crouched in the corner, silently watching everything. An uncle who attended the funeral told us. The dog was crying from the corners of his eyes. He seemed to be able to sense the death of his master. That is, from that day on, Abu never smiled at anyone again. He is like a homeless stray dog, wandering the streets every day. Because I miss my grandma too much, Abu's eyes were often filled with tears. Over time, there were 2 deep tears in his eyes. Since grandma left, Abu's health is getting worse. Every rib on the body is clearly visible, and the spirit is not as good as before. But even so, he is still in the small town every day, rain or shine, looking for grandma. The residents here say, old people and dogs used to be seen walking together, and now only Abu is left alone. People don't understand. Why does he keep wandering back and forth in the street? Now Abu was very weak. When I walk, it becomes even more staggering. Every time you walk a distance, you will fall. Neighbors say that when grandma was alive, always dressed the dog in white. But now Abu is an old dog. Without its master, it is like a walking dead. Abu, day after day wandering in those past memories. A kind little brother sees the dog pitiful, so I bought a box of canned meat for it. Maybe the thoughts have already filled my heart. Dog's favorite food of yesteryear, but not the slightest bit of interest. Just started. People think that dogs are always wandering outside, but an uncle said that Abu had a family. Follow the direction of the uncle's finger. At this moment, we just happened to see the dog enter a courtyard. The little brother followed and found him drinking water. After some careful observation, everyone judged that this should be the dog's home. Then the little brother came up and knocked on the door, and there was no answer. Just then, Abu walked out of the house again. Every time he goes out, I want to see my grandma who thinks about it all night. At night, the photographer noticed that the owner of the house had returned. So he went up and asked about the dog. The host said, Abu was raised by his mother. When the old man is alive, I take him out to the park every day, go for a walk or chat with friends. They are almost inseparable every day. After his mother passed away, Abu no longer has the vitality he used to have. He walks repeatedly every day. On the road I used to walk with my grandmother. Maybe he felt that as long as he kept going, you will definitely be able to see your grandmother. Just then, Abu dragged his tired body back. The hostess brought him chicken soup that had been stewed in advance. But the dog just sniffed. No appetite at all. This made the family very worried about Abu's health. This morning, the sky suddenly began to rain heavily. Abu walked out of the house as usual. The hostess couldn't bear to see him go on like this. After all, dogs are getting older. Smooth roads are also prone to falls. So he took Abu back home. Dry the dog with a towel. I thought he wouldn't go out again. I didn't expect. The stubborn Abu walked to the gate again. See the iron door closed. He squeezed open the door with his body. Nothing seemed to stop him from searching for his grandmother. The host is helpless. I had to force the dog back. Abu walked back to the nest trembling. He pressed his head against the wall in the corner. You look really depressed. The next day, the host called in a veterinarian. After a detailed inspection, the doctor said, the dog's eyes have severe cataracts, and the various organs of the body are also seriously deteriorated. There is little chance of a cure. Abu doesn't have much time left. Doctors advise against restricting its freedom. If you keep it at home, dogs may become more depressed. Just then, Abu is ready to go out again to find grandma. His lonely back looks so bleak. Abu staggered, walking down the street with my grandmother. After a while, Abu came to a grocery store. Auntie said, in the past, the old man would often bring him to this store, chat with friends. Abu looked around. I didn't see my grandmother. Then he turned around and walked out of the house. Soon after, the dog came to a gazebo. This is where he rested with his grandmother. Then the dog went to a nearby temple. Abu turned around in it again and again, trying to find the breath left by grandma. It walks repeatedly in every place in memory. So tirelessly walked for thousands of days and nights. But I can't find milk anywhere.